Budget Committee meeting for Thursday, June 10, 4 o'clock p.m. Robbie, if you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fritz. Here. Commissioner Ginnenberg. Here. Commissioner Creasy. Here. Commissioner Waddell. Here. Commissioner Val.
Here.
Commissioner Smallridge is absent. Commissioner Jameson is absent, and Commissioner White's absent right now. I think they both are planning on being.
5 out of 8, we do have a quorum. We'd like to ask Commissioner Creasy, if he would please, to lead us in prayer, and Commissioner Fritz to lead us in the pledge.
Mr. Chairman, what I'd like to do is to read a prayer for peace by Abraham Lincoln. Almighty God, who has given us this good land for our heritage, we humbly beseech Thee that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of Thy favor and glad to do Thy will. Bless our land with honorable ministry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties and fashion into one united people, the multitude brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. Endow with Thy spirit of wisdom those whom in Thy name we entrust the authority of government, that there may be justice and peace at home, and that through obedience to Thy law we may show forth Thy praise among the nations of the earth. In time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in days of trouble, suffer not our trust in Thee to fall. All of which we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Continuing on with the agenda, we will have Director Holbrook with our cash and fund balance report.
Cash and fund balance. Restricted funds are at $748,291. Committed funds, $2,023,830. Assigned funds are at $2,029,147, and unassigned fund balance is $5,983,960, with total fund balance $10,785,228. Cash is $17,102,941, which is up $4.9 million, almost $5 million from last year at this time. Any questions on the cash and fund balance report? Okay, the sales tax report, I reported on this in county commission meeting, I think, but in April, we had a total of $4,403,057, up 62%. Anderson County's portion was $624,773, which is second highest to January in 2021, but and you know, we'll be collecting 2 more months of sales tax still in this fiscal year because the state's always 2 months behind, so we'll be building that. Any questions? Okay. On the consent agenda, it's 1 through 26. Numbers 8 and 12 have corrections that I've given you a copy of. They're just small corrections. And seeking approval as a group or individually, or I can answer any questions.
move for approval as a group.
Second.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve items 1 through 26 as a group. Commissioner Denenberg seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay. Numbers 27 through 38 are appropriations and transfers for the school department, seeking approval as a group. Or can answer any questions.
Move for approval as a group.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve items 27 through 38 as a group. Commissioner Denenberg seconds the motion. Any discussion? Robbie, if I'm correct, all these are just housekeeping for the end of the year
Most of
budget,
it,
right?
most all these amendments are, yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, number 39, it is appropriation from the county clerk, increasing postage 4,000 and increasing their business, they put postage on here twice, but it's business tax.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve item number 39. Commissioner Denenberg seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, number 40 is from solid waste. It's decreasing their restricted fund balance 54,000 and increasing landfill operation and maintenance 24,000 and other contracted services 30,000.
We know this personally from out in our area, so I'll move for approval.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve. I'll second that motion because it's the same up in my area. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Numbers 41 and 42 are from the highway department. One is an appropriation for asphalt for 200,000 using restricted for highway, and the other is a payroll major line item transfer for labor salaries and mostly cleanup work for their budget for year end.
Commissioner Waddell moves to approve. Commissioner Denenberg seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, number 43 is from EMS. It's increasing medical personnel and overtime pay and trustees commission $2,000, and it's decreasing several codes that are benefit and natural gas and other contracted services, $56,000.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fritz. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, 44 through 48 are from the sheriff's department. And you do have corrections on 44, 46, and 47 that I gave you before the meeting started from Tyler. All of this is
Approval.
mostly cleanup work in the sheriff's department for payroll codes, their overtime codes and stuff.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve. Commissioner Denenberg seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
49 through 51 are from me, the finance department. 49 is, we're recommitting Gov Deals money that we were using for next gen payroll. That will be done next year, so I'll have to uncommit it again in July. And 50 is for, it's the same benefit cleanup but major line items in payroll to clean up for benefits. And 51 is trustees commission. I had to increase it $30,000.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve. Commissioner Fritz seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, number 52 is from the HR department. It is increasing personnel, office clerical personnel, $5,013. They had an employee leave, and we owe vacation and comp time payout that is due upon her leaving. So she doesn't have that in her budget, being a small budget, so we have to ask for the money to pay it.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item 52. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Creasy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, number 53 is from the mayor. It's actually was an item that was approved in county commission, and she's attached the minutes for the abandonment of 6 miles of railroad line in the Beach Fork area that touches Anderson County and Campbell counties. You all approved the motion. Commissioner Val made the motion to give the mayor authorization to file a
Move for
petition.
approval.
It's for the legal fees for this to be done.
Commissioner Fritz moves to approve. Commissioner Denenberg seconds. Any discussion? Commissioner Creasy, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I would like to ask, and I'm sure it's been stated, the motion was to file a petition with the Surface Transportation Board to reopen or revoke. Do you know which one the petition stated?
Yes, Commissioner Creasy, I can distribute that to you. We asked for both. So when we filed with the STB, it's asking them to either reopen or revoke, whatever the STB
okay.
felt would be appropriate.
That's what the petition said then?
Yes, sir.
Not either or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Mayor, for doing this. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay, under Section A, the sports gaming privilege tax. We haven't really discussed this yet, but we are receiving revenue now from the state. We've received 2 quarters and for a total of $12,340. By law, this money is restricted revenue if not spent in the current year collected. It will roll into restricted code 101-34545 SGPT. This money can be transferred to pay any fund by legislative body, but first deposited into the general fund, and it can be used for local infrastructure projects, including without limitation, transportation and road projects, as well as public buildings. We'll receive 1 more quarter this year for this, but I just wanted y'all to be aware that we are getting money for sports gaming now. You know, it's legal to gamble online in Tennessee. So we're going to benefit a little from it.
That's what my memo called it.
So far, in the 2 quarters, the first quarter, it just started, we received like 4,000, I think, and then we got 8,000 last quarter, and we'll receive in June, we'll probably get it in August, we'll receive it 1 more quarter for 3. It'll probably grow a little each quarter because you know how gambling is. Some people have addiction to that, I guess. or
And you
whatever.
said it helps towards buildings?
It can go towards infrastructure, it can go towards your buildings, I mean, like, you can, but the county commission controls how it's spent. We can't spend any of it unless you all say, let it go towards this project or whatever. It would go before this body. Probably before budget committee first and then, commission as well.
Commissioner Denenberg.
How is it proportioned?
This,
I'm talking about from the state. I mean, is it
it
by how much your county is?
is pursuant to TCA Code 4-51-304, 15% of the privilege tax collected under this section must be distributed by the corporation lottery quarterly to the state treasurer for deposit. It's based on population by the last census. So we get, of the 15%, it's divided up between each county by population.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions for Robbie on the sports gaming privilege tax? Hearing none.
Okay.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Section B, Briceville Volunteer Fire Department is, the mayor is asked to speak about this, the next 2.
Mayor Frank.
Okay, the first request with the volunteer fire department, the Briceville Volunteer Fire Department did apply for USDA grant and loan. And the county was very generous and also helped assist in matching that. With the escalation of costs that are happening right now in the marketplace, when they first went to application 2.5 years ago with estimates of costs, they built that application off of that. Essentially, now they're having to scale the project back to where they can only do 1, maybe 2 bays the bathroom, but they cannot complete the interior. And this is a very modest project. This isn't $1 million project. This is, for instance, the loan was $69,000 from USDA. The grant portion was $80,000 from USDA. They've had to scale this back. When they first went out to bid, they did not get any interest in the project at all, I guess just because of the size of it, and then also the escalation of costs. They pulled it back in. They've advertised for a longer period of time, for 4 weeks. They do now, in talking to Mr. Campbell, who is the architect with Design Innovation Architects, you may be familiar with him. He is the architect who did the free work for the Briceville Library, and then he's also doing very limited cost for this project as well. In speaking to him, he said he has already gotten 2 bids submitted. He believes he may get a third. The bids close on June 17th. But what we discussed is, in terms of this project, do we try to scale it back and only do 1 bay or maybe 2 bays, or do they try to finish it? What does the future look like? What do costs look like? And in talking with not only Mr. Campbell, but also other architects and construction firms, basically they have advised me, you really should try to do it now, because if you go back and you try to finish the job, there are going to be some costs that come down, but in terms of these projects, you've got, all of these millions and millions of dollars coming into the state and to states all across the nation that are going to continue to drive up demand on materials. And then you'll also have stabilization of prices. So some things are going to come down, but essentially, once these prices are where they are, everybody's used to them, and then that's going to be stability, and then you're just going to continue to build on your costs going forward. So I did talk personally with the architect about this. I also went to the Briceville Volunteer Fire Department board meeting. The architect was also there. We discussed what it would take to finish this based on estimates and what they're seeing other bids. And he estimated between $50,000 to $75,000 to fully complete the building. This would be full interior work, all of the work. And I discussed with the board, would they be willing to reduce the donation that the county gives them each year? And so every year, the volunteer fire departments and the rescue squad receive an allocation of $27,500 from this county commission. And they said they would certainly be willing to do that. They understood that asking for funds could create issues with the other departments. And so they did do a motion to reduce, commit to you all that they would reduce their request by $5,000 each year to reimburse the county for any allocation made to help them finish this project. I would like to ask for that for them, but please know that they are also going to embark upon fundraising where they may not need it. And then they are also working with USDA. Kurt Morris said he believed he was trying. He's working with Chief Brewster to try to get another $30,000 for them. So they may not need all of it, but it would be beneficial for them to finish this facility, not leave it out there for who knows how long, for years to come. And they would agree to reduce their amount of allocation annually.
Only until it's paid back.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Commissioner Wardell.
The property they're building on, is it county property?
No, sir, they actually purchased that property. They purchased, I want to say 2 parcels, if not 3. Was it 2 parcels?
I think
Do
it
you
was
know? 2, okay, yes. They did finance that themselves.
Commissioner Denenberg.
I certainly, excuse me, support their offer. And I think we need to do whatever we can to help support them. So I would certainly be in favor of it.
The only reason I asked was in the case that something happened and it was defaulted upon or something, what do we have as far as the money we would have invested in it?
Well, I guess the reason I phrased this is not a loan. We're not loaning them money, so.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that it's not, I mean, they need this up there. They certainly need it.
Right.
So we want to make sure that it's secure and taken care of, and we're not putting money into something and then it not get completed or whatever may happen.
Right. Well, by USDA, I mean, they have to complete it, so they're walking through a whole process that includes, every form of, one of the reasons some of the fire departments don't even want to use USDA is because there are very high bars for all the requirements. So for instance, on the septic alone, I know Chairman Val, for instance, was very involved in assisting with that particular process. I mean, they have to finish the project. They absolutely have to finish the project. As far as the default, the county controls the annual allocation every year. So if there is no completion of the facility, then the county could easily zero out the contribution.
Well, I think Robbie just said we had $12,000 in the sports gaming. Was it 12,000? That'd be a good start.
Yes, 1234.
Also, Commissioner, go ahead, Commissioner Creasy, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask who, excuse me, I was trying to remember who came before us in the past. I think Mr. Braden came. Who's the lead member of the volunteer fire department that you're dealing with?
Well, the chairman of the board is Roger Hooks. Mr. Braden is still very much involved. I don't know the officer structure of the organization, but they do have a very active, vibrant board.
I think Richard is vice chairman
Okay,
of the board.
yep. And then Chief Brewster is the fire chief.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Waddell makes a motion to approve
$75,000.
$75,000 in reducing $5,000 to their department each year in our annual contribution.
Correct.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Dannenberg seconds the motion. Do we have any discussion?
Sounds good.
Commissioners, thank you very much on behalf of the people from the Bryce on the north end of the county.
How long have they been working on this? It's been like 5 years or something? Has it been a long time?
It's been close to that. We would have already had it built if not been for the delay in the TDEC permits that was a minefield to walk through, to be honest with you, but we finally got that took care of, so now things are beginning to roll.
Very good.
Commissioner Fritz.
I mean, I would wish that every citizen that lives in a rural area would step up to the plate and, contribute on their own, at least, $50 or per household.
Amen.
I mean, I right now, I've got 2 houses in the Claxton area, and I contribute 100 per house. And, cause, I feel, they won't ask for 50, I'll double it, cause what volunteer fire departments do for the communities.
Yep.
And if everyone that lived there just contributed to the 50, just think what the volunteer fire departments could do. And they don't get paid. I mean, they're donating their own time, and it's unreal. So I just wish, that everyone would, realize that and, would step up and do what really is right.
Thank you. Commissioner Dannenberg.
I would just like to maybe modify that to read that every household contribute what they can. If you can do 50, wonderful. If you can't, $10 will certainly help. If you can do more than 50, wonderful. So that's the only comment I needed to make.
Thank you, Commissioner Denenberg. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Just
Good
I'm
job, Mayor.
going to prepare a budget amendment for 75,000 out of 3,900 of our fund balance to 101-544-10316, which is contributions that we make to the volunteer fire departments to the Briceville,
Okay.
cost center of Briceville, just to let you all know that. I'll have that ready for commission though also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Mayor.
This will make a huge difference, and if you have an opportunity, visit their existing facility, and you really will see the true need for a new fire hall. The next item was just a discussion I wanted to have. Several years ago, we pursued a CDBG grant for water lines. These water lines are, let me get my paperwork out. So these are Buchanan Road, Savage Garden Road, Faust Lane, Collins Gap Road, Hines Creek Road, and Judson Road. And this is another situation where the estimates and the grant application were based on 2.5 years ago. Originally, actually, even longer than that, because we originally applied, we did not get the grant application approved. We reapplied and won the application, or were awarded. In the award, the Water Authority agreed the county did not actually do anything other than commit to being the pass-through, managing the bids, managing the contracts, managing the reimbursement requests, and the Water Authority committed to the financial match of the CDBG, which was, Randy, you may have a better memory on this, $107,000, I believe. Yes. So you all have already approved the budgets, setting that particular grant up. And then we've also met with the Water Authority and set up for where they would actually make the financial contribution to Anderson County government of that 107 to meet the federal government or the state requirement, I'm sorry, it's fed through state pass-through, to meet that portion of the match. Well, we're again dealing with a situation with increase in cost, and then also there was, and I don't want to get into any kind of pointing fingers, but there was an error where we, from the county government side, applied, and we submitted to you a resolution of up to 700 and some thousand, but the grant application that they submitted was only for the 630. So we do have a discrepancy there with what we said we would be willing to apply for and what they actually applied for. The escalation in costs are significant. And one of the things we're looking at, and I did meet with the Water Authority, Randy also went with me as well. We met with the engineer. We discussed perhaps part of the project is actually in the Hallsdale-Powell area. One of the things that we can do on this particular project is for that area, we already have an agreement between the Water Authority and Hallsdale, and they would be willing to let the Water Authority keep the customers, but then do something that would be more of a cost savings. That is something that we can do. Why I'm bringing this up just as a general issue and not bringing you a specific proposal at this point in time is we're probably looking at about somewhere in the realm of $450,000 to $500,000 increase that they would be asking us for. I did go to the auditors. I went to Amy Sauceville, who is our lead auditor. She took this question up the chain to through the comptroller's chain. This is something that would be eligible with American Rescue Act funds. We could use those funds to finance the remainder of that portion. I don't know, I don't want to pursue, going down the next step, which is going to bid, doing construction documents, seeing what the real numbers are, if I don't have a sense of what you all would like to see happen. If you would like to pursue it further and go down that road, if that's something that you think would be a wise expenditure of American Rescue Act funds I will go down that road. Otherwise, we will need to pull back on this project and just pull the plug on it. And that is, that's a very real option. So I don't want to pressure you, put you in a corner, but it is something that we do have to look at. The last bid that the contractor, where they went to bid up in Maryville on one of their CDBG projects, was a 30% increase in construction costs. And again, this is all related to storms in Texas, COVID, supply chain interruptions, demand for projects. So I'm happy to do whatever you want me to do. If you want to pursue further, we can go the next step. There's not a cost in that. We can see what those construction costs are. But I would like to have kind of a sense or a feel. Something else that we did look at, and why there is some variance there that I'm giving you in the number, is I did ask them, the particular project for Judson Road is only part of Judson Road. So I did ask what it would take to finish Judson, and that's an estimated cost of $56,000. So that was just something I asked, while we're out there, why don't we finish the entire road? And so they did do that as an add-on estimated cost.
Doesn't that go into Union County?
Yes.
How much is the grant for, the initial grant?
6:30.
I believe it's 630.
You said 6:30.
I know that,
630, 433.
I know the people on Hines Creek that I've talked to are looking forward to getting water. So I'd be interested in seeing us at least look at it and see. We've got this money coming up, and it can be used definitely for that. I hate that it costs this much more, but
Yes.
I think that we gotta at least look at it. We've told them, I know Mouse Lane, the whole 9 yards, I know they're all looking forward to it, so we've told them we're gonna do it. I think we at least gotta look at it and come up with a really, really good reason why we're not.
Okay.
That's just my
Commissioner,
opinion.
Commissioner Denenberg.
Well, pretty much following what Commissioner Wandell said, that water is something that is a necessity. And getting ready to go through some changes at my house, I know what the costs are escalating almost on an hourly basis. So I really don't see the need to hold back any longer than we have to. And if these people need water, they need water. And I think we should move forward as quickly as we can to do what needs to be done.
Commissioner Fritz.
Now, did you say this goes into Union County?
Well, no, that particular road does go up to Union County, so I don't
we'll be
believe
staying
we're.
in Anderson County,
We're
though.
staying in Anderson, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
nothing we'd be doing would be going into another county?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, I agree that water comes first before anything else. We need to get water to other areas. Outside of this right here, how many other areas in the county don't have water as of right now?
From what I understand, I think this just about gets everything.
Because what I'm
Savage,
shooting at, water comes first.
yes,
And once we get everyone in the county water, then this is where me and Commissioner Wandell has held back. Our area is hurting, and it's been hurting for years, and it's gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse with the sewer issue out there in that area. And we've got to do something in the future with the sewer. The sewer comes second to water. We got to get water first.
right.
And then get rid of it.
And then we got to get rid of it.
I have actually had Commissioner Fritz, especially with the unknowns of what we could actually do with the American Rescue Act funds. I know there are a lot of projects and goals that the county has, and I have had seen that this was an opportunity, if they do not open up the Rescue Act funds for other infrastructure and capital projects, and it is just down to sewer, water, and broadband. I have had some meetings since we got that notice specifically about sewer in the Claxton area, because it's one of those areas where you have a crossover of CUB and ACWA. And so I will share with you that we had a joint meeting between CUB and ACWA just a week ago, talking about a master plan for how we service that area, and putting sewer in that area does bring economic development with it as well. So it not only serves those residents, but it will solve some of those problems. So hopefully by the 24th, we'll have something written to put in your hands. Even if funds don't go for it, you'll have a vision of the future for the Claxton community for sewer.
Now, me and my counterpart, we totally agree that water is number one. We believe that everybody in this county deserves water and needs water. But then, as she said, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah. And, a little bit of silver lining on this is normally, if you look back historically, the county does do the financial matches on the CDBG. And we have done very large matches in the past, even $300,000 or $270,000. And on this particular one, we match zero. So even if it gets up there, at least subtract the 107 from what we normally would have been matching in the past. So that's the silver lining of this dark cloud.
Well, it also helps our fire department, because where there's water lines, there's hydrants. So
Absolutely.
I know on Hines Creek, they've got a long ways to go to even get to a hydrant, so it'll help them.
Mayor, do you need a motion on this tonight?
I don't think I need a motion. I just wanted to see, if you all felt like this is a mountain too tall to climb, Mayor, just go back, tell them no. But we'll, getting this impact or input from you all, I will just proceed and tell them, let's keep moving forward, and let's get some final numbers to take to commission. If you want a motion, that's fine, but I don't think for Budget Committee. Oh,
Commissioner
Commissioner
Anderson, go
Anderson.
ahead, sir.
To Commissioner Waddell's point, does the estimate for that grant include 6-inch water lines or fire hydrants? Is that part of the cost already?
I think there was a couple fire hydrants that were included.
Randy, you were at that meeting as well. I thought we were talking about 6-inch that whole time.
I do too. I don't know what was in the specification.
I'm looking at Savage Garden and Faust, and I see Carrier 6-inch class 200. Faust, I've got another page on them, 6-inch, a connection to an 8-inch. Collins Gap, 6-inch, and some 4-inch. So there's, I can get you more specifications, because when I'm looking at their cost estimate, it doesn't really give me a map but I'm happy to get that information for you all.
Oh, that'd be great. I think that'll help people's ISO ratings for homeowners insurance and stuff. Have that factored in. I wanna make sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for the mayor?
I'd just like to say, I feel pretty good, because I've noticed your caution that you're working with this and checking with the comptroller. That makes me feel a little better and feel more comfortable with what we're doing.
Yes. They just
Thank
cleared.
you for that caution.
Absolutely, Commissioner Creasy, and they just shared with me, as long as we're not using the American Rescue Act funds for the match, we're good, which we are not. We've already got it in writing, we've got that from the Water Authority. They are providing the match.
Now, what about the difference in the committed amount and the amount applied for? Is there a resolution for that?
The resolution would be, we either have to scale this project way back, and really what we're looking at when we sat down and talked with the Water Authority, we don't know that we can even meet all of the requirements of what we applied for with the existing funds. So it would be a process where then we would have to ask permission to scale back to an amount of, because with the application, we have to commit to serving so many individual homes.
Yeah.
And so that's not even guaranteed that we could meet that with the funds that we have.
Very good. Thank you.
Commissioner Dannenberg.
What kind of money are we talking about to be able to service everyone that is needed?
What we were talking about from the county would be 400, these are just based on estimates.
Sure.
It could fluctuate, things could come down, things could change, things could go up, but the estimates were 450 to 500. I think it might have been 506 or something like that specifically, but those were based on a Maynardville, what they were seeing on the cost out of that project.
And how long ago was that cost project?
Let's see.
You may want
I
to
think
add
that's
another $50,000 or
been
$60,000 to it.
about 6 weeks ago,
Okay,
maybe 5 weeks ago.
all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think we need to think more towards completion rather than going back.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions for the mayor? Thank you, Mayor. Next item on the agenda is new business.
Yes, there are 5 budget amendments on new business. I'm gonna take them one at a time. The first one is, for me, the state direct appropriation grant. There was still $14,999.90. That, I know I put 19 in the lower column. I just forgot to correct that, but we have $14,999.90 left over, and I have to restrict that because we can only spend that. It can't roll into fund balance. We have to spend that money or we lose it. So we still have a little more time to spend that, another year, I think. And on the second page, it shows what the money's been spent on. We started out with 1.3 million, 1,370,764, and we spent it on several capital improvement needs. But I just need to have a budget amendment approval to restrict this money that's available. And there still could be some that's unspent that might increase this. If money we've given out isn't spent at year end, then it will increase this amount.
You need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Waddell makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Dannenberg seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay, back in, I'm not sure, but when the sheriff's department brought the firearms, the $44,000 firearm deal they made, when they sold the boat, they promised to move that money back in courthouse security, and the boat sold for $28,150, so this amendment moves that money back into the courthouse security by commission restricted code.
So moved.
Commissioner Dannenberg makes a motion to approve item NB2. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Waddell. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Have they purchased that simulator yet?
They're having us clear out a spot for it. Commissioner Fritz, so I think so. But I know we're moving some stuff around to be able to accommodate it.
They promised a presentation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll make sure we do that.
Joe wants to go play.
Okay, the next two are from EMS. I'm gonna do these two together from EMS. They had a emergency this week with a water pipe burst in their main building, and so they need to get $15,000 transferred out of other contracted services. So the money will be available tomorrow. And then they're doing an appropriation for $15,000 to move back into other contracted services. So, if you have any questions, Nathan is here right beside you.
So moved.
Commissioner Dendenberg makes a motion to approve item NB3.
Money for buckets.
Commissioner Fritz seconds the motion. Any discussion?
Definitely to clarify, this is coming from the EMS fund balance. But we hope, we've contacted insurance, our deductible's $2,500, so they're supposed to be sending some people out, trying to get quotes, but right now our headquarters facility is shut down because we had quite a bit of water and we've tore up the carpet and stuff already. So, our training room is jam-packed full of all of our office equipment, so it's, we're hoping that we can move quicker on this as opposed to an appropriation, which has to go through full commission on the 21st. So didn't want to wait till the 22nd to start, getting some things fixed and replaced.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries. Also, Nathan, you may not, but if you do need accommodations for training while that room's being used, give us a call. We'll help you out at the jail if we can.
Typically, that's probably one of the silver linings to this is we usually don't do as much training in June and July
Okay.
because a lot of people take
Vacation.
vacations
Yeah.
and stuff. So a lot of our mandatory training, we hold off. So that's a little helpful, but we're hoping that it won't conflict with much of that. But I appreciate that, and we'll definitely take you up if we have.
Yes, sir.
So, Chairman Bell, we just did MB3 then, right? So MB4 is an appropriation from the fund balance back to 399, the 15,000. That will be passed in commission. So that's the reason for that,
Good.
like he explained.
Do you need a motion on that as well?
Well, you only included MB3, so yeah, I do. I guess need a motion on that also.
So moved.
Commissioner Dendenberg moves to approve item MB4. Commissioner Fritz seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay, and the last one is also EMS. It's from their fund balance, $18,330 to other contracted services for a feasibility study about EMS location in Oak Ridge. They're having, that lease is due, and there's issues with the building, and I'll let Nathan continue on
Sure,
with that.
so we talked a little bit about that. I think it was at purchasing committee, because that lease expires at the end of this month, and we were looking to renew it for two years. Because we want to do a station location study. There was some talk about relocation, making sure our posting locations, our station locations are in the right spot. So we sent out a bid. Catherine Ejmeri's, her and her department put us that together. We sent a bid out. We had 3 bidders come in. The bid was awarded to who not only we felt was the best one qualified, but was also the lowest. It was 18,000. The highest was about 57,000 is what they were wanting to do, a station location study. And their local group really blew us away. But in order for us to move out of Station 5, which I don't think there's anybody that disagrees we need to move out of Station 5 and some of our other stations, we need to make sure we move to the right spot. And if that's the right spot, then we need to start looking for something else because we're just paying way too much, in my mind, for renting that facility. So this is allowing us to go ahead and start that. The project takes, I think we're on 3 months to do it total. So starting now helps us to get closer to doing that as opposed to waiting until July and then doing the budget transfer in July. That's why Mayor and I were talking about go ahead and bringing that to you all, so we can go ahead and get that started now, maybe a month sooner, so we can start working towards that. I don't like staying in that station, but it's probably what we're gonna have to do for 2 years, so we can make sure that we use our money and relocate wisely.
Now,
Commissioner Day-
Station 5 is the one in the east end,
Yes, sir. Yes, it's over there off
not the city
Arcadia.
property.
Yeah, the Seward property there at the
The
Castle.
one we used to have free.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, very much so.
Nathan, did I read in something that we were given that on the lease contract that went back out and then came back in, do we have a 3-month out on it? Is, where we can notify them that we are vacating?
From my understanding, the modifications that we tried to make, they rejected.
I thought the only rejection was any money from them to, do any type of
I didn't get-
improvements on the facility.
Other than the emails, I didn't get the specific feedback, and
Okay.
that I've been out of the office doing remodel at my own house, tearing it out, then
Come
coming
to
to
my
work
house,
and
okay?
doing the same thing. But I had not gotten the specific, my understanding from reading the email is that all of the proposed changes were rejected.
Okay, then I misread because I thought I had read that, that there was an out clause. In other words, saying that if we wanted to vacate, we would give notice
No,
3 or so months in advance and,
no.
without
We
cause.
included that in there,
But she rejected it. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
because I read that also.
Commissioner Fritz.
Is this the facility with the outrageous lease payments?
Yeah, it's a 26,400 a year.
The one there at Melton Lake.
Yeah.
And it's going to take that long to do a study?
Well, no, not that long to do a study, no, sir. But then the process after that of finding out where's the right location, how do we build, what's the process? I really believe it's gonna take us a good 1.5 years to figure out all of those details. Because honestly, our other Oak Ridge station is just as bad, if not worse, than Station 5. So it's extremely small, which causes, in my mind, code violations, but it's the right price. That one's free. The city provides that. The one that's just behind Kroger used to be an old communications terminal building. If there's a bomb that goes off, that's the building you want to be in, but it is extremely small, and it's something that, it's the only station we have that doesn't have a washer and dryer, so that if they get blood or vomit or anything on them, they can't wash their clothes there. The shower, everyone in here, except for maybe Peyton, he's real skinny, but everybody in here would probably have a tough time taking a shower in that, and it's just painted cinder block. It's just painted cinder block. Oh man, oh man. But I think there's other things. I'll be paying for that later.
You
Can I get a
already are,
motion?
you're turning red.
Where are you looking for land?
I have not looked for land. I did talk to the city of Oak Ridge, a relocation for Station 2 to Adams Lane, and doing some kind of joint effort with them as a temporary, we lease it type thing. They're very receptive to that because they have nobody interested in building there. It's not a very, it also doesn't have water to that spot, but they said that's something that could be taken care of. So we have talked to them about a possible temporary location where we may have to buy a mobile facility, put it on foundation blocks, because Oak Ridge codes, they're more robust, and put a station there, but that may be the cheapest option. But again, if we do that, we spend all the money to do that, and we come back and say, well, that's 3 miles away from where it should be, I hate to waste that money.
Is that what the study's for, to determine a location?
For every station, not just one, but every station all throughout the county, to factor in how long does it take to response times to households, posting locations when we get to lower units. I mean, it's not just what kind of building. As a matter of fact, they're not even designing the building. They're factoring in our response capabilities to everyone we serve and where's the best spot to maximize the resources that we have to meet the most residents in the shortest amount of time. That's a brief way of saying what we're planning to do, but it's gonna say where every station should go. And if they're in the right spot, great. If they're not, then that's something for us to develop a plan and consider and then factor in what's the priority station. Is the Station 5 the priority? Is the Station 2 priority or what it is, so.
But there might be something closer to Claxton or?
Yes, sir, I believe so. There needs to, and whether that's Station 1 going to South Clinton, and being closer to Claxton, Medic 5 cheating over towards maybe Emory Valley, being again, you know, we got that waterway, and that's the only access is to Claxton is Melton Lake or Highway 25, and that makes it a little bit harder to service. But then at the same time, you know, when we had the audit, they said, well, Station 3 should come more into the Medford area. And my argue there was the ability to get to Briceville is just that one road. If you cheat them down towards Medford, I mean, you have cut a large group of area out. I don't necessarily agree with that. So now
That's gonna be
we're gonna.
one of the questions I asked Nathan about the Fitch Associates audits. What specifically information did it have in it about current locations versus changing locations?
They
know you
did talk
mentioned
about
number 3,
Station, yeah, they did talk about Station 3, and they were looking at a circle.
Right, they were looking
And
at
Station
what we
3 was
know.
right there on the county line, and I argued with them about that. I said, it doesn't make sense. If I move them down here, yeah, okay, there's more houses in my circle, but I have just even farther cut off the New River, Briceville area, and it already takes so long to get out there. I disagree with that standpoint.
So, and I think I'm agreeing with what you're saying, but the point I was trying to get to was, we paid for this audit that addressed this issue, but I don't think they were taking everything into consideration of what we know here as a governing body.
Honestly, that audit that we did really didn't look at station locations very much.
All right.
And honestly, they came back and said that the only adequate size station is the Station 5, because of how big its bay was. Because it had enough room around the
Not considering the
equipment.
condition that it was in.
Yeah, yeah. It was right size, not a good
5
condition.
acres, isn't it?
Do what?
It's 5 acres, isn't it?
Not the parcel that we're on. They do own the property that's right in front. It's all wooded. You have the building and a parking lot, and then everything else is wooded. So it's just an old building that, I mean, we put a lot of repair work into it to start with. Just to start, when we moved back in there, we spent about $18,000 just redoing it.
I know it may not be the best location down there in Oak Ridge, but what about the Sessions Court building?
That might, again, I think that pulls us a little bit farther away from Marlowe and actually a little bit farther away from Claxton.
Could we use it temporarily though, until we get done what we need to be done, instead of signing another lease?
Possible, I don't know what the condition of that building to put garage bays for 3 ambulances
I don't know.
and bedrooms and,
Well, I think there's rooms probably they could renovate for, bedrooms and common areas. Now, where to park them and bays
they
and
have to
stuff
be
like
in
that.
temperature controlled garage.
The trucks do?
The stations, yes, the stations and the trucks that are equipped. They need to be housed
Okay.
indoors. Now, if we have an out-of-service vehicle and we can take equipment off,
Is
then,
the one at Andersonville?
yep.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we put a new AC unit in that one last year. Yeah, all of our garages are temperature controlled.
Well, and again, I'm not trying to come up with a solution to this tonight as far as where a location goes. I'm just pitching out some ideas, but obviously we own that building there in Oak Ridge.
There's
So,
just no place for the
yeah.
storage of the actual vehicles.
Yeah,
That building,
yeah. and-
correct? Oh, leasing agent?
No, there's nothing that tall.
No, there's not.
You all will get a copy of this
Oh, absolutely.
And then they are also looking at everything from, for instance, Key Springs Road. You can't travel Key Springs Road in rain or snow. They're taking into account many factors. So whether it's not just distance from point A to point B, but also is it
Terrain.
4 lane,
Yeah.
is it a back windy road? All of those things are gonna be looked at, density.
Yeah. No Walden's Ridge.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been up in an ambulance.
I've been
That
up in a
was- that
patrol
was-
car.
That was a lot of prayer right there.
Yeah, you gotta back up a couple of them,
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
and there's no guardrails.
No, there's not.
Do we need a vote?
I think we're gonna have to give them
Well,
a vote for
we
it.
have a budget appropriation.
Yep.
So it'll go through full commission as well, because
Yep.
appropriation.
Commissioner Fritz,
I move for.
motion to approve. Do we have a second? Commissioner Denenberg seconds the motion. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and vote for it, but I still have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
For Nathan. No, let's go ahead and vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
The question I have, I can see where that study could present us with locations where there's no affordable or available properties. In other words, you know, this would be the
Yes,
best
sir.
spot, but we couldn't possibly go there.
Yes, sir.
And, I can see where if I was doing that study, I would have one heck of a time trying to determine where to put a station. And so the question I have of you, or I'd like to know your opinion, to replace Station 5, where do you think would be best for you to locate Station 5?
So,
What area?
multiple different ways to think on that, but I think the closer we can get to Claxton, helps. Because Claxton, to me, is probably the most underserved area for us with that
I
population.
remember that in the
Very,
past.
very comparable to New River Highway, but there's a higher population and a lot less call volume in the New River area. But Claxton needs some more attention. So I think actually, honestly, really, when you move one station, you have to look at, do I need to move the other
Yes,
5?
I understand, yeah.
So there's some trains of thoughts of going to the Emory Valley area or going a little bit farther that way, bringing Station 1 up here in Clinton, maybe to South Clinton, bringing Station 6 maybe closer to the interstate, which is not much farther from where they're at, but that industrial park continues to grow, and there's a lot more traffic there that, we probably need to be looking at getting that station out of that spot anyways. So maybe moving them a little bit towards 25, maybe Station 4 maybe needs to come a little bit closer into Marlow, and still not have an effect on our ability to get up to 116, to get up New River and those frost bottom areas. So I think to me, I think there's a decent shuffle that we could look from almost every one of our stations. Maybe Station 3, to me, honestly, seems probably about the one that's in the best spot for where it's covering. So,
If I was gonna do that study, the way I'd do it, I'd ask you and your drivers, and that's who I'd ask, where the stations need to be.
yeah, and they already did, this company already went ahead and showed us driving distance based on road. They can factor in season, do we have a higher period compared to a lower period? I mean, it was a pretty good presentation that we did not expect it from this company, and they really blew us away. They did I think they're doing a fire station study location for Germantown right now. They're completing there, so.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for taking up the time.
No, sir, not at all.
But I've been heavily involved with this station location thing over the years, very much involved, and so I have some hard feeling for it.
Yes, sir. To me, committees is where we do the heavy lifting. That's where the discussions, majority of them take place.
Thank you.
Mayor Frank?
Yeah, just to follow up on what Nathan said for Commissioner Creasy, they have the ability, Commissioner Creasy, they're going to make recommendations, but they're actually going to go further by looking at actual parcels that would be available or where we might have the potential. And then they can show us, they can move all of everything based on that. So we're going to get options. It's going to be an interactive process. That's why we like them. So even going into this, I had them
Oh, I
ranked
feel good
third.
about your choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
my comment wasn't negative.
sure. But they've got that ability to move that around. And one other, I was trying to think, there was one other thing about them. They're also able to show the impact, for instance, like they use Germantown as an example. If it's on this parcel and you have to turn, across traffic coming out, what does that cost you in terms of time instead of facing your facility this way? So they even get down into some details like that, that'll be beneficial.
And even looking for joint ventures.
Yes.
City of Clinton, their department, they're looking to build a fire station up by I-75. We've already had discussions about possibly just factoring in there somehow. City of Oak Ridge is looking to move their station on the east end. So I've had discussions with them on possibly, you know what, the bay's in the middle, ambulance on this side, fire department on this side. So hopefully we can look for those joint ventures if we have to.
That's good information. Thank you for that.
Anything more under new business, Robbie?
Hold on. Jeff,
Need to vote. We had the motion and the second, just need to vote.
No, we voted and then Jerry
Did we
asked a
vote?
question. Yeah. Jeff Trabaka.
Yeah, I was going over contracts this afternoon, Robbie. We've got the Wolf Valley Engineering funds for rock cameras. Do I need to do a budget amendment to roll that money forward into the next fiscal year? So we don't have to reappropriate?
It will roll into the fund.
It will roll?
You'll have to.
That was my question.
Commissioner?
And I did ask Catherine about the 3-month out clause, and it was rejected too. I texted her and asked her. The 3-month on the
It was
current lease.
in the lease
It was
agreement?
asked, but they rejected.
Okay.
They rejected it.
So they did reject everything?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any more new business? Any old business come before the committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Thank y'all.